Yes, but also for those who are starting, I go back to the same thing. We are sold a lot of promises online.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
get your body in 30 days, get your this in 6 abs in 1 week. And you don't get it in 1 week, and you know, like, what am I doing? And frustration can make you actually fall off that bandwagon, and you might not want to actually go back into it. So you need to be grounded, you need the reality, it takes time, and you need to look at it from a holistic point of view. Don't look at it from an aesthetic point of view. Aesthetic meaning it's not from how I look. How you look is the fruits of your labor.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the TGM podcast. This is where we bring you the great message of hope, great message of encouragement, affirmation, and many more. In today's episode, I have an amazing guest, and I'm so excited to have a conversation with him. So guys, let's listen, learn, and grow together. So guys, he has an amazing fitness journey to share with us. I hope that you learn a lot from him. So, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How have you been?
Not bad, not bad.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so tell us, who is Will? I know you as William Mtana, but tell us, who is William?
Many things.
Many things.
Yeah, so my name is William Mtana.
Okay.
William Mtana Lewa, owner and founder of the Fitness Nomad, which is a fitness, started as a fitness gym in Diani. Then it moved into the space that we're in, which is right on the beach.
Okay.
And also I run together with my colleagues. We have Legit for Cause, which we started this year. And basically, Legit for Cause is simply doing causes that impact the society or the community at large.
I was so impressed by your story and how you are supporting the community, and you are the man behind the Legit for Cause that is behind us. And also, guys, for this t-shirt that we are wearing, he's the man behind all this challenge. You also you had also another challenge of 2023, yeah, last year, that you covered. It was a 24 workout challenge that went successful. How was the journey?
You're never prepared to do 24 hours. In as much as I've been in the fitness industry for close to a decade, if not more, you working out for 24 hours non-stop, not sleeping, it takes mental grit. So how I did it, you can't prepare enough. You just have to take it head on as it comes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before you go there, even in the your fitness journey, I'll have to start with the icebreakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so William, what is the last thing you told your wife this morning?
The last thing I told my wife this morning
Yeah.
when we were driving is, I love you.
Oh.
And if I should drop, because she bikes going home, if she was going to ride her bike back home, or do I need to pick her? So
Wow, that's nice.
that was
That's
the
nice
last
to hear.
conversation.
And what's been your favorite country to travel or city, and why?
I have to say, hands down, it's always been Cape Town.
Okay. Why Cape Town?
First, my wife's best friend lives there, so it's like our second home. But also, it's one of those cities or towns which, if you consider traveling, especially having two boys, now they're at an age whereby they all pay their own seats, so it's not cheap. But Cape Town has a way, like it's not that far off. It's a 5-hour flight. Flights are relatively cheap depending on the time that you actually book them.
Okay.
And they accommodate a lot. They have lots of activities that kids are involved. So, at times you go on holiday or vacation and you come back tired because you constantly have to, like, there's not enough activities to accommodate the kids, whereby they're also like filled with activities that they can keep up the energy. So Cape Town gives you a lot. It gives you things that you do as a family, and things that kids also enjoy, as opposed to it just being what adults can do and kids are forced to tag along.
Wow, that's nice. And what is your favorite quote?
So my favorite quote is, well, I had it from, I think he's one of my role models or people that I look up to. His name is Vusi Tembekwayo.
Okay.
And he's from South Africa, actually. He's a public speaker. And I know there is one point I was listening to one of his, I think one of his either Instagram or YouTube videos. And there's something that stuck with me. And I think that's what I've always been about, going in the entrepreneurship life, but life in general, which basically says, faith is the ability to see the invisible.
Faith is the ability to see the invisible. That's a nice one. If you have to choose one meal that you could eat forever, what would that meal be? One meal that you could eat forever for the rest of your life.
One meal?
Yeah.
Jeez. Can I have two?
Yeah.
I can have two.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I can't have it now because I think I ate it for so long, but I love beans.
Beans.
Yes, I love beans.
Maharagwe.
Yeah, maharagwe. It is my to-go-to.
Wow.
So beans with anything, either it's rice or chapati, not with ugali because I had that when I was in high school, so that is a no-no for me. But yeah, I love beans.
Okay.
And the other thing that I love, mostly because my wife is Italian, is the pasta. But there's a specific one called carbonara.
Okay.
So that's always my go-to. So.
Wow, so now jumping into our conversation today, you are so passionate on what you do. How did your fitness, maybe you can introduce more on the fitness journey and how you began being a fitness coach? Yeah.
So my friend introduced me to fitness. Saif Osama, one of my very good friends. I lived in Mtwapa. I grew up for the longest time in Mtwapa, which is North Coast. And I've always been into sports. So I suppose my discipline came from there. I was big. I loved basketball, and then it moved into football, and then it went all the way to rugby. But one of the very things that kept me grounded and one of my coach instilled in me is discipline and consistency, because with that you see progression, or you see how you progress in whatever sport, but generally in life. If you're disciplined and if you're consistent with what you do, you gain more knowledge, you become wiser, and things tend to just fall in place, and it's not a hassle. So he introduced me when we were in high school. I started fitness with him in a local gym, and it's fun enough because these are the kind of weights we used to use there.
Wow.
So we didn't have like the proper metal bars and plates.
But people are still appreciating this once more. Like, yeah, more than even going to the gym, the setup here at the beach.
Yeah, I think
so. This is where you began. The weight reminds you of where you come from.
Yes. So now someone saying it out loud. Yes, this is where my beginning started with.
Wow.
So now it's trendy, I would say. So that's why I want to people. But because the location as well, we're right on the beach. So it stands out. Walking out on the beach, it's everyone's dream. Once you're done, you can go into the ocean. But I started off with in the local gym in Mtwapa, where I used to live, and then I was working at a shoe company called Converse.
Okay.
Converse shoes. We used to sell that, so I was a salesperson. And part-time I used to help my mom she had like a Swahili food restaurant. So I used to combine the two. And then at some point I was like, okay, I do love fitness. So with that aspect, I enjoy training people. I would love to train more people, but I needed to understand the science behind it, because our bodies are different, how we adapt to exercises are different. And with that, I had to go through a course. And the first course that I did was ACE. It's called American Council of Exercise. That was the only course available. Luckily, we had it here, so that's what I started off with. And it's from these that I actually use the knowledge from studying, and I slowly now use it, putting it in practice with clients, understanding different people, how they react. We are all very different, how we are motivated differently. So over years, I think, same thing, I'm going back to discipline and consistency, meeting different people, training different people. You sort of kind of find a way to adjust to whichever client that comes your way.
So you're also a personal trainer?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I do personal training.
So William, how was your upbringing, like growing up? Where did you grow up, your upbringing?
So funny enough is my parents, my parents basically were living in South Coast Diani. So when I was born, they were living in Diani, South Coast. So this stretch was not done. So they were up in Ukunda. And then my dad got transferred because he was in the hotel industry. So he got transferred to North Coast. Then we moved to North Coast. And in North Coast, that's where we lived in Mtwapa. So I've lived in Mtwapa for...
So you were born in Mtwapa?
I was born in Mombasa. I lived in Ukunda for about 5-6 years. Okay. And then we moved to Mtwapa, and I grew up there. We've lived there. I've lived in Mtwapa for more than 20 years. Okay. My upbringing was a mix of quite a lot, in the sense, my dad being in the hotel industry, and my mom used to own like a salon then. My dad he wasn't, but before he became saved, he basically used to live, like a normal lifestyle of someone who wasn't believing in God or anything. And I think after I saw the change when he actually got saved. So it was getting two sides of what you see, because then he used to drink. He wasn't aggressive with us, but like when you're under the influence, you sort of, and then there was that flip of now, yes, there's a change. So he doesn't drink, he doesn't do anything. But one thing that did stuck with me, regardless of it all, is he was always there for his kids. Wow. He tried as much as he can to ensure in everything. And that's one of the very things that he also told me and even my brothers was, education is going to be key. So I might as well not have anything. I'm contented with not having a single shilling in my bank account, but all my kids will go to school. And he kept his word. Every kid.
That is the values that you got from your dad?
Yes, yes.
What about your mom?
My mom is a pillar of my life, actually. So she's a strong woman. She's gone through a lot, because my mom basically, for those who don't know, a lot of people confuse me with thinking I'm either Luya or Luo, but I'm neither. So my dad is Chonyi, so I'm Mijikenda, and then my mom is actually Congolese. Okay. So she moved quite a lot, all the way from Congo into Uganda into Dar es Salaam, and then she basically left her family and came into Kenya knowing no one to just... So it's just the resilience, she is a go-getter. If she says, I will go through here, she will, and she'll make anything possible, regardless of whether it looks like it's a mountain that she's going to climb, but she's always there. So I think it's one of those things in life I've always tried to own. Things will not be easy, but there's always something behind it.
Wow, that's nice. Have you always been this energetic, the gym guy, the fitness, or maybe it's something that you had to develop? No,
I've always been an energetic kid. I've always been energetic throughout my growing up, and I'm very grateful that I used my energy and I channeled it through sports. So I was constantly, either I'm running in a football field or I'm in a basketball court. And I was also lucky enough to have, especially my basketball coach, he instilled consistency and discipline, and he always loved to challenge us. And one of the very things that I think I don't take lightly is when someone challenges me. I'm very competitive. I mean, even now, my kid is 9 years, but I'll still compete. So
I saw you running with your boy, your firstborn, I think. So you have 2 kids?
I have 2 kids, yes.
Wow. So what is your why? You know, when you do something like you're so passionate in fitness journey, what is your why? Why do you do fitness, and why fitness?
I suppose my why comes from creating an impact, changing someone's life, and there's a beauty to it. There is, how can I put it? Like, I'm contented with that, because when you touch someone's life, that person goes, and if done in a positive way, they'll give the same message to someone else, and then that person either will come seek for the same, or they will put into practice the positive change you did in the other person. And for that has always been my biggest why. It's always been, you know, at the end of it all, even with me myself, I'm like, when you leave the face of this earth, people will always talk about what you did.
The legacy,
you know?
the legacy you leave behind.
There's a legacy that you leave behind, but it's also, who are you in, how do you want people to remember you? You know, was he a guy who people were like, we saw him doing positive things through what he loved, but say, fitness is what I love, and I think I can do lots of things with it because I'm passionate about it. And if you tie that with creating an impact, a positive impact in a community, it pushes me more. So, and it's not easy. You know, it's not easy to always constantly show up in the gym 5 to 6 times a week. It's not easy for you to deal with different personalities when it comes to personal training. It's not easy. But you look at what benefits these people get from your service and the impact that you'll actually give a society or community once they've actually taken up what you're giving to them.
And before you became a fitness journey, what were you doing before shifting to fitness career?
I was selling shoes. Yeah, so I got my first employment. A very good friend of mine. I call him my big brother. His name is Brian. So Brian was in charge of the Converse store. It used to be called Kenya Sports House Limited, and they had quite a few stores within Kenya, mostly in Nairobi, and then this was like in Mombasa. This was their first branch. And like I told you earlier on, my mom used to have a Swahili restaurant, so I used to go help out and that kind of stuff. So Brian happened to come for lunch, and what happened is he saw how I interacted with clients and how I talked to people, how I interacted with him. And the next thing, he just told me, come see me tomorrow. I think I can have a conversation with you. So I went to his stall, and he was like, I want to offer you a position here with no experience whatsoever. And he was like, prove me that you can actually get permanent employment in 3 months, which is what you do in probation. And yeah, in 3 months I learned the ins and outs of selling, and that's my first employment that I actually got. And from there, that's when I slowly now started combining between fitness and being a salesperson.
I saw on your bio, cancer and chronic illness exercise specialist. Maybe you can tell us more about it. So I got to actually train, became a really good friend of mine. He still is until now. A gentleman who was suffering from cancer. And one of the very things is he had to regain
his strength, his fitness level had to come up to par. Now, see, the thing is, when you have such a chronic illness, or even when you're involved in like an accident and that kind of stuff, you to regain back the strength takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Sure.
And one of the very things that I took, and I think it also sort of challenged me, and it made me think outside just a normal lose weight, build muscle, and that kind of training, is it has a lot to do with mental resilience. There are days that he never felt like he could work out. And in those cases, because, you know, the body, you accept the day as how your body allows you to. And also going through the treatments normally takes a toll on your body. And that is something that's beyond someone's control. So it will take as much as just saying, let's just talk. Let's, you know, let me understand in what mental state you're in. And with that said, it has a lot not only to do with the physical bit of it, which you have to do it slowly, because imagine teaching a baby how to walk. You know, you have to be quite careful when to let go and when to hold on to them. So it's not in comparison to how it is, but that's how your mental state is. You know, that days you feel you're strong, and you could see that from the energy that he gave you. And for that day, you're like, okay, fine. Let's try and push ourselves to where our body will allow us to. And that days whereby he's like, I've had a bad 2-3 days, my body does not feel like it. And it's fine to say, it's okay, let's take a step back. Let's try and see if we can do one thing. If that thing doesn't happen, then let's talk. Let me know in which headspace you're in. And you know, it's different when you're dealing with someone who's abled, someone who doesn't have any sort of illness, or doesn't have anything that basically is beyond their control. And so, and with that, it's a lot of people well, not all of them, but you find a lot of, I don't know, say trainers. We take on people who want to lose weight, build muscle, because at the end of the day, it's not easy, but it's, you know, you sort of use the same guidelines to bring you to where they want to achieve, depending on what their goals are. Whereas if you're dealing with someone who has some sort of illness, or they need this special attention or needed to them, it's quite a lot, because you don't know what you're going to face the following day. And with that also, you as a person, it makes you also get to understand a lot just outside abled mind and bodies. So there are moments of where you soak things in, and the days of whereby you're like, I think we can do a bit more, you know. So it also challenges you mental-wise. It also makes you read people's body language. It makes you also see in what kind of state. So I can be with you here, and your energy, I can sort of understand in which wavelength you're in. Is it a day we can crack jokes, or is it a day today I can't do that because you're sort of not in the right mood? So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's so encouraging. And for someone who is watching, you have a fitness goal and you want to start the journey, where do you start?
I might get hanged for this, but get yourself a health coach. Get yourself a health coach. Same way when growing up, you don't just start opening up a book without someone guiding you to it. So get someone who has knowledge. And I know there is a lot to do with like pricing and that kind of stuff, but you can always be open with, the beauty is with trainers, personal trainers, fitness trainers, we understand, because we know it's not an easy journey. So it's always best to tell someone, listen, I want guidance, okay? I can't afford your fees, but can you create something within this so that I can be able to, you know, and we'll always, because that's, at the end of the day, trainers want to make an impact, you know, regardless of whether we also have to make a living, but we want to make an impact in someone's life. So for someone who's starting out and you have no clue, make friends with that trainer in that gym and tell this guy, listen, these are my goals, please guide me. What do I need to do? And then the rest is now up to you to now own it and decide this is what I want to achieve, and this is what I'm going to go to. We can guide you, but if you don't keep the consistency, if you don't keep the discipline, if you don't eat right, you'll get frustrated. You'll get frustrated. So get yourself someone who can guide you, and from there, take that journey slowly.
What about for those people who work out from home?
Home workouts work amazing.
Okay.
It works out amazingly. It just, you only need to, there's something that we call keeping your track of your progress. So you need to understand. And I'll give you just a small example is, with your own body weight, let's say, how many push-ups can you do? So we'll start from there. Are you able to do 10 push-ups? No, you're not. Okay, perfect. So let's find, we call it a modifier, it's an easier version. So let's say if you're doing push-ups, instead of being in a full plank position, you drop your knees to the floor and you start with that. So if you're able to reach 10 of those, now your next challenge or your next goal is, I want to at least do 3 up to 5 without having my knees on the floor. It's not going to happen overnight, okay? So it will take you weeks. And that's where the progression comes in. So after 1 week, 2 weeks, you notice that you're able to do 2 from a full plank position. You're like, okay, next time I want to do 3, you know, and this is what you build up to. So if you work out at home with own body weights, you can achieve your results. You need to understand where you started, what your progression is, what you want to achieve. But the biggest downfall that many of us cannot see results is our meal plans. I'm not talking about these diets that you find online. You need to understand what you eat. Is it geared towards what you want to achieve? If you're looking into losing weight, there are certain foods you can't eat every single day. There's some way that you have to eat in order for you to be able to lose weight. If you're looking into building muscles, the same thing. Yeah. So, and it's also not saying go starve yourself. That's not how you lose weight, because what happens is it's gonna be, we call it a yo-yo. So yes, so yo-yo is, I think you play that game, yeah? It goes up and down, up and down. That's the same thing with fitness. So you'll start motivated, okay? That graph is gonna do this. You'll get to a point, we call it the plateau, and this is where mental resilience comes in. If you don't couple this with eating clean, eating well, recovery, it drops. And what happens is when it drops because you don't see any changes. You don't understand what you're doing wrong, okay? And then what happens is you're gonna drop, and then some other time you'll again find your confidence and it's gonna go up, you know. So if you also follow meal plans or diets that are not geared to your goals, it's the same thing. You're gonna use it, it gets to month number 2, I'm not seeing anything. To hell with the meal plan. Then you drop, that happens, your morale goes down, you're no longer interested in working out. And that's why I go back to the same thing, get yourself a trainer. Get someone to guide you, because if you get the guidance, that will keep you grounded to understand, with this structured plan, I will get to my goal.
And how do you build a fitness habit? You know, it's so hard. Sometimes you start, you stop, you start, you stop.
It's quite easy and quite hard at the same time. You build a fitness habit, one, by being grounded and sticking to reality. There's a lot that goes online. There's a lot that is sold to us, which we do not understand the work done before. A good example is like someone will see my build or my physique and they'll be like, that's what I want. But they don't understand there's been close to a decade of doing the same exact thing. So you build a habit. It's not how do you say, it's not fancy. There's nothing fancy about building a fitness or workout habit. You have to understand that you'll be doing almost the same thing week in, week out, week in, week out. And you also need to understand it takes time. Okay, so nothing will just happen overnight. Okay, so you need patience, and you need to give yourself grace, because the day you don't feel like it, it's fine to take a day to rest and go back at it. You don't have to keep hammering every single day because you're trying to get the results in the fastest possible. No, this is a lifestyle.
For you, what do you do when you feel like you don't feel like doing it?
That's the day that I actually go to the gym. That's the day that I actually say, the day we don't feel like it, we go. But I also look at how my week has been or how my day has been. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's say if I've been out and about, I've been, working and working out, and my recovery has not been the best, because recovery basically allows you to go back and restructure and do it again. So if it's not been the best, then it's also worth it for me to say, you know what, I'll take a day. I might just go for a beach walk, or I might just go for a swim, or I might ride a bike. It's called active rest. I'm doing nothing vigorous, and I allow my body to just recover, eat the right meals, sleep on time, and the next day your energy levels are completely different, and then you go back. What you don't want is saying, I'm going to take a day to rest, and that day turns into weeks, and weeks turns into months, because going back to that side is going to be...
Especially for those who are starting.
Yes, but also for those who are starting, I go back to the same thing. We are sold a lot of promises online. Yeah, sure. Get your body in 30 days, get your this in, 6 abs in 1 week. And you don't get it in 1 week, and you know, like, what am I doing? And frustration can make you actually fall off that bandwagon, and you might not want to actually go back into it. So you need to be grounded, you need reality, it takes time, and you need to look at it from a holistic point of view. Don't look at it from an aesthetic point of view. Aesthetic meaning it's not from how I look. How you look is the fruits of your labor. So the work that you put in, eventually, I wasn't like this. And trust me, I got to a point of where I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
It took time.
It took time, but also I didn't have the know-how. Now you have a lot of people who understand. They actually have. So it took me close to a decade, not to get to where I am, but it took me close to a decade it probably took me 3-4 years to understand, okay, my body reacts this way to certain kind of foods. I'm supposed to train in this way, But for someone starting out now, there's a lot of trainers who have this knowledge. So you just need to tap into that, and it will take you half the time it took me to basically get to that point or to those goals that you want to achieve.
And also you have to understand your body type.
100%. What works for me doesn't work for you. What works for you doesn't work for 2 other people. So you need to also understand that and find your strength, or find your right place, find your lane, basically. Yeah.
And do you have a specific time to work out?
I don't
that you can recommend as a trainer?
No, usually I say the best time to work out is the time you create. Okay, the time you create. So how I normally do it, or how I actually advise someone else, is how does your day look like? So you're busy from, 9 a.m. all the way until around 6. Okay.
So there is nothing wrong working out early in the morning. It depends.
There is nothing wrong. You just need to dedicate, even at 12 p.m. Even at 12 p.m. Do you have time then? Do you want to dedicate that hour to working out? Yeah. A good example is, like, if you're a family guy, you can't work from 9 until 6 and then go to a gym and then still have time to spend time with your family. So it's also dependent on what your goals are, where you are in life. So personally for me, it's like, just to give you an example, is I would prefer working out mornings. Because when I'm done in the morning,
so you're a morning person. You're a morning person.
I'm an anytime person.
Anytime.
I'm an anytime person.
Okay.
Right? I'll just look at how my day is. Usually you want to try and be consistent. So you want to say 6 to 7 is my time to work out, and stick to that. It's easier for me because I can go at 12 p.m. I'll still get my workout down, but because I'm used to it. For other people, it's a bit hard. So either you're a morning person, you're an afternoon person, or you're an evening person. But what you want to try and do is, for you to create the habit, you need to also be disciplined. So you're saying 6 to 7, this is the time I work out. I go to work at 9. By that time, you get home, shower, have your breakfast. Your day starts easily. You're already full of energy, and you don't have to look at, I have to stick in the office, I have something else to do. So you don't have those excuses.
So I have this question from a friend. Is it advisable for a woman exercising during pregnancy, during pregnancy journey?
100%. Depends with how far in there and what kind of exercises you do. I have a very good friend of mine. The wife is heavily pregnant. Like she's almost there. But this woman squats and she does clean snatches because she's more into the CrossFit. And even for me in the background, I'm like, you know. But there's not a time whereby you are meant to stop working out. It's all depending with how your pregnancy goes as well, and the kind of exercises that you're doing. Okay.
But why do you think more people are unfit?
More people are unfit now because we think, and I might be wrong for this, but we tend to think, so life has got more comfortable, in the sense, things that growing up you'd wish to have, as an adult now you sort of have that. So a good example is like personally growing up, to have a pizza, you know, was you know, in school you'll be like, over the weekend we had pizza. Like, it was a sense of pride in it, you know. Now you get to a point of whereby what you used to think was hard for you to get, you're easily able to achieve. I mean, nowadays anyone is driving. You go to the banks, they give you car loans, and you're able to, you know. So people, there's less movement, and there's more processed foods out there, easily available. You know, it's even hard to eat organic. It's even expensive on that end. And before, it used to be the other way around. So more people are unfit because, one, we are now a society of less movement because we have comfortability. Anyone can afford either a bike. You've got boarders, you've got tuk-tuks, you've got a vehicle. Going to Pizza Inn and order pizza is as cheap as going to buy yourself, I don't know, maybe tomatoes or something. And we are also living in a fast-paced life. You know, we are working hours of hours. So what that happens is you find that as humans, you go for the easiest and simplest way to have a meal. And what would that be? Call in, you'll have chicken and fries on your table. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's because of the fact that we overdo it. You know, too much of something, we normally say it's not good. So I enjoy chicken and chips, okay? But I wouldn't eat it every single day because this is all fried foods, and I understand what it does to my body eventually. So people need to understand and associate foods as well based on a lot of things. How you feel, what it's going to do in the long run if you overdo it. Can you have it once in a while? 100%. I love a pizza once or twice. You understand?
And so, what's the relationship between confidence and the fitness? The relationship between fitness and confidence?
It does quite a lot. It does quite a lot. And there's we call it the good after feeling. When you go for a workout, you're out there, you're ready to conquer the day. You've already done the hardest bit, which was you training. You've sweated it out. So you leave there basically full of energy. And then also at the same time, it's you view life from a different point of view, because I'm going back to the same thing. Working out or fitness is easy, but it's also hard. It's also hard in the sense, if you have to do the same thing every single day, keeping up every single day, you know, it takes a lot. So the moment, if that already takes quite a lot for you to be able to achieve it every single day, it's like whatever you have in life or whatever it is I face through, throw it at me. I'm ready to have it. So in that sense, you don't understand, but at some point you'll just be looking at things in a completely different way. How you talk to people, how you react with people is going to be completely different, because over a while you've built that mental resilience, and you get to have more confidence in actually how you tackle things.
So William, I saw you in the gym. You are carrying a very huge bottle of water.
I knew it.
So I was like, I even asked my partner, "Aish." Okay, how is it important to hydrate?
Very,
Very.
very important.
How many liters of water do you take in a day?
You know, I try as much as I can to stay hydrated. I think I drink a minimum of 3-4 liters. Maybe I might even be doing more, because just the gym bottle that I go with is already 3 liters.
Okay.
It also depends on the day, how hot it is or how cold it is. But at the back of my mind, usually I always try and make sure I stay hydrated. Living in a hot, humid environment, you sweat a lot. So if I'm not drinking normal water, then I'll probably be having madafus, so 1 or 2. I really love those because they replenish your electrolytes and that kind of stuff. So it's important to hydrate. It's good for your skin as well.
Or skin?
Yes.
Okay, so we make a living by what we get,
Yeah.
but we make a life by what we give.
Yeah.
So 2023, you became the second person, especially, I don't know after who, but you completed a 24 workout. What was the goal?
It's true. I am the second person.
In Kenya?
Yes, there's a gentleman in Nairobi. He actually did it 2 times. I think he did it in I can't remember clearly, I think around 2018, 2019. And then he did the other one, I think, just before I did mine in 2023. So the aim as to why I did it, I go back to the same thing. I think last year, with all the happenings that is going on around the world, and you try and create a positive impact in the society with the little or much that you can. I was not able to do or to touch people's lives alone. There's people in the community who actually supported the cause. I was just a channel that I put myself out there in order for people to say, if he's doing this to raise X much to support this cause, we are with him. Because it's a noble cause, and I do believe deep down within, no matter how ugly, bad, good you are, we're still human. So you have that side, which you just need to tap into more often. So, and that's what I decided to do last year, which was basically geared towards getting learning materials for school here in Kinondo. So they had the classes done, they had a sort of setup. So it was just like, how can you actually help them? Because what they get is they would have donors or sponsors saying, okay, I'm going to sponsor this kid and I'm going to pay the school fees and that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, rather than picking out individuals, what can we do that will just empower the whole entire community and the school at large? And that's why I put my efforts towards the 24 hours, which I was grateful for sponsors who came on board. Like Swahili Beach was one of our main sponsors. We had Base Titanium was one of our main sponsors. The community at large as well came in, they donated, and there's power in numbers.
Wow. Yeah. You also on first to this year, first to third is a World Disability Day.
On
and
the
you
third.
Also, on third.
Yes.
You're also running another challenge,
Yes.
which is Leg It for a Cause.
Yes.
You are challenging yourself to covering 150 kilometers from South Coast to Diani, North Coast, Watamu.
Yes.
So are you a cardial person? Do you love cardial?
With all honesty, well, okay, let me take my words.
Because 150 kilometers is not a joke.
It's not little. It's not little. Mostly because my build, I love short sprints. So I would easily, let's say, I would run with ease 5 kilometers, maybe 10 kilometers. I'm not a long distance kind of runner. Also, my build is not meant for long distance running. So to put it in a nutshell, I am not a long distance runner, but like I said, remember when we spoke about the goal, your why. There's an aim as to why I'm doing 150 kilometers. I've never done that in my whole entire life. This is my very first time that I'm doing. So there's a lot that is involved in it. When we spoke about the mental resilience, this is where it comes in, from getting ready to be able to do the run. Then it's also, what's the reason behind that is keeping me grounded to still wake up every day and say, I'm going to run 15 kilometers, I'm going to run 20 kilometers, day in, day out, to be able to get ready for that. So the moment you have your why, which my why for Leg It for Cause is to basically provide, but mostly also raise awareness towards amputees and acquiring this prosthesis, which helps them a lot with their mobility. They're able to fend for themselves. They're able to be more independent compared to if you're using like walking sticks or you have people pushing you in a wheelchair. So that's the impact that I'm trying to do in the community. But there's a lot more that comes in that. It's not just giving them the prosthesis. We go back to the mental resilience. Until the other day, I had a conversation with this amazing lady in Mombasa. She's big. She basically runs. She's a chairperson for the people with disability in Mombasa County, and she gave me the insight because she's an amputee herself. And for those who don't know, they think it's just getting them this prosthesis and they'll be fine. You have to learn how to walk all over again. And because of the fact that either you're used to walking sticks or you used to have a normal leg before, and now you have a prosthesis, you need to learn how to walk again. And that can get frustrating. So it's not just getting them, like we want as many well-wishers and donors to come through, but I want it to be a bigger picture, because other than getting them the limbs or the prosthesis, some of them are really good carpenters. So for those who cannot for those who cannot contribute towards the acquiring of the prosthetic limbs, maybe they might want a table or chair or two fitted to them. So these are people also who want to empower them as well, just beyond getting them these prosthesis.
So also for those who want to support, maybe they want a t-shirt like this one or that one that you're wearing, how can they reach you out?
So currently we don't have an outlet that we are selling our t-shirts from, mostly because there is fees behind it, and it's a noble cause. So I don't see the reason as to why you need to put fees for you to sell a product that basically goes into creating an impact in the community. So what I normally tell people is they can reach out on our social media pages, which is either william.mtana, as simple as that, or at Legit for Cause. If you send me a DM, depending on where you are, we deliver everywhere. So Nairobi, if you're around South Coast Diani or the coast, we also will have it delivered to your doorstep.
And now, because you're having, this is the second challenge you're having.
Yes.
Is it a calling for you, or how do you take it?
I don't know if we can, probably, but at this point in life, I can't call it a calling. Maybe later on down the line, I'll go back to this interview. Mm-hmm. I want it as well to be something. Remember when you said, or when we spoke earlier on, it's like to have like a legacy. And this is also something I instill in my kids as well. Oh. It doesn't have to be kind. It doesn't hurt to do good to others, you know. And the world that we live in right now, it's always about me, and taking, and there's less of people giving. I know there's quite some organizations that are doing much bigger things, but I always say, start from where you are. So that small spark will create a bigger fire. So my hope is this will open more doors for me to be involved in ways of whereby I can not only just touch people in South Coast Diani or in Kwale community only, but it can go beyond that. So we want to reach people in North Coast Mombasa, but even our beneficiaries, we have them from all over the place. So not only just here, but also in Mombasa, some are in Nairobi. So we hope that it's gonna grow into something bigger. Yeah. Whatever you learn needs you to put a bit of understanding to whoever you come across. So it's not that it says black, so you have to apply the same color that it said to the outside world. You just need to know where the person is at, what their goals are, and then you have the basics. So usually I say stick to the basics and then work from there going up. Don't try and do too much, because then you either under deliver or the client doesn't get what they actually wanted to get.
And being a fitness trainer, what are the challenges you face, especially you as a person?
It takes a lot of time, which in any business there is time involved. Currently it's changed, but if I would compare how other trainers get paid outside, let me say outside Kenya, because I don't know how they get paid in Nigeria, Uganda, whatever. It's still a career that is not, like, we don't charge what it's meant to be charged if you compare to what other people have. And you find that I've had a couple of clients whereby what we actually give, and I'm just speaking from a point of here in Kenya and people that I've actually interacted with, is like there's more personal touch to it. There is more attention to details, like trainers in Kenya, compared to how they say it with out there. Because many of them, it's, they show you something and then they'll get distracted with something else. Whereas here we give someone the value for what they pay for. But are we charging it in how it's supposed to be charged in the right manner? It's growing, it's changed a lot, but these are challenges that all personal trainers or fitness trainers go through. We undercharge for the value that we give.
Okay. You're also a family man. So for how long have you been in marriage?
I've been married for 10 years.
Oh.
Sorry. I've been married for 8 years,
8
but
years.
I've been together with my missus for 10 years.
10 years.
Yes.
What's a family to you? What does your family means to you?
It means a lot. I think since I met my wife and we have 2 kids, it gives you different objectives and you have a goal whenever you step out, because it ceases to be just about you or just about the 2 of you, and at this point it's 4 of you, in my case, or it might be 3 of you. So you try as much as you can to provide, and it's life. At times what you plan is not what happens, but every single day it gives you the urgency, or you wake up saying, you know what, I'm going to take up this other day, I'm going to try and have it be better because I have a family behind that's looking up to me. So depending on how you take it, because I've seen it can also take a negative side to it. People tend to probably you get involved in other negative activities in order for you to provide. It's not bad, there's a good intention of you providing, but you're not using the right module, the right channel. Some people, it gets frustrating and they end up probably being alcoholics, because depending on what they need to provide for their family, if they don't, they tend to drown themselves in that kind of stuff. So there's a fine line between the positive that you take out of it, but it can also turn into something that's not so positive. So what I do believe is in put your best foot every single day. Wow. Put your best foot every single day. It's not going to be the same, but you know what? I think there's always plans for the day that you put ahead of you.
And I wanted to send a message to your lovely wife and even your kids and your nanny.
You want to say? Oh, do I
For you to send a message to your family, basically, but a special one to your wife.
What do I say to her? Okay, first of all, I think I'll start with, let me start with my nanny. Thank you, because without her, we live in a fast-paced world, and she practically has grown and raised our kids. So for that, I am grateful and I really appreciate her. And I don't like using the word nanny. She's now, I call her my sister, because she's done a lot for our family. To my two kids, what I would say is, you still are mischievous, and at times I might seem a bit harsh, but from deep within I love them to bits, and they make me wake up every single day thinking of how I can be better for them, and how I can be a better person and be a role model in their lives. And I think to my lovely wife, no words can actually put this, can bring it out. But I think the best will be, thank you for being there for me, for letting me be a better version of myself, understanding, believing in me, even if at times I think I might lose that belief. And to always be the person in the corner that I can actually count on. And for that as well, I want to say thank you, and I won't stop loving you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing the great message with us, and we wish you all the best in the great work you're doing. For you who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been the Great Message Podcast, and I'm your host, Talaash Lonana. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and let me know in the comment section what's your takeaway. The great message from William Mtana that will change your life. And don't only listen, but also take action. For those who are willing to join or sponsor the run, feel free to use the paybill provided or reach out through his socials. Bye bye.